Well, I certainly agree with that point. The Commission investigation format is not working, and those delays and the costs are inordinate, and frankly, by the end of it, I think a lot of people would wonder what it was all about in the first place. It was a bit of Jarndyce and Jarndyce for those Dickens readers about a lot of these things. But can I just maybe refer to the Commission report as another area on the mother and babies, as another example of where we've just got it very badly wrong. Now, I know we're going to discuss this this evening, but I mean, really, there was a number of survivors out there today, and they were absolutely furious at the redress scheme that is being proposed around arbitrary time periods and thresholds for being in a mother and baby home as some sort of meaningful guide for redress. You know, I mean, this is just typical of the way the state gets it so badly wrong. You have to be 6 months in an institution, right? As if the human story, the tragedy, the hardship, the trauma, and so on is somehow, you know, can be equated to a particular time period, or for that matter, a particular amount of money. I mean, this is just how you really get things wrong. And of course, while we debate it further this evening, I mean, I'll just put it simply. The key in any of such sensitive investigations and production of a report is to listen to the survivors and the people with first-hand experience, and to be dictated about the establishment of schemes, the production of reports by working in sort of step with those survivors. And the failure to do so has landed the government, frankly, in a bit of a mess. And I really think the Taoiseach and the government need to consider that.
Deputy Kenny, you wanted to...
Just in terms of the questions raised by Deputy Tobin and Deputy Boyd Barrett and Deputy Kenny. First of all, it's the Deputy's opposite call for the investigation. Demanded it. So it's not about kicking the can down the road. I think as Deputy Tobin suggested, there was a demand from here that government would have, and I was in opposition at the time. All opposition wanted an inquiry into this. So that's the first point. You're right, the department has estimated, but there's no precise figures on the 30 million figure, but the department has estimated that could be the ultimate cost, but no one knows in terms of the figures I just gave there. But the real issue is, and I've been in the House for quite a considerable length of time, because of our view that people have rights and so on, all inquiries take an ordinate length of times. And no one format has been optimal to date that I've seen. Be it parliamentary inquiries, they've had difficulties, they've ended up in the courts, where citizens have taken the legislator to court in respect of how they were treated. A lot of the Commission of Investigations was originally brought in by then, you know, Michael McDowell as a minister at the time, just as a means of shortening a shorter route to get a more efficient outcome to inquiries, because the Public Tribunal of Inquiries Act were proving to be very, very long as well. They're taking years, even decades in some respects, 10 years or more in terms of some of these tribunals of inquiry. And everybody's entitled to a good name, and everybody's entitled to cross-examine, and you have huge legal costs attached to all of these inquiries as a result of all that. You know, 2015, one of these inquiries was established, and the others not too far after that. So I think we should go in with our eyes wide open here. And very often, the first response is, let's set up an inquiry from the opposition and from members of this House, whether you're in government or opposition at different times. That is the first response. And I'm not so sure it's the correct response. And so in answer to Deputy Tobin, I think the idea of the State Investigation Authority was looked at the Law Reform Commission back in 2005, but about public inquiries, including tribunals of inquiry. They didn't call it, they call it a permanent inquiries office. They gave the pros and the cons. They opted in the end to go against setting it up. They said you'd have a permanent team of staff, experienced in investigations, paid salaries rather than a daily rate, thus resulting in savings. They'd have easy access to precedents, guidance and procedural issues, provide a one-stop shop for those seeking information and inquiries. And then it gave the disadvantages. So although there are a number of inquiries at present, there's no guarantee that there will be need for similar bodies in the future. Public inquiries are ad hoc bodies by their nature. Their structure and personnel should reflect this. and it goes through, and that's probably something you can consult. My own view is, irrespective of what format of inquiries we decide on, they will be lengthy, given our legal system. They will be lengthy, and people will never entirely be satisfied with their conclusions. It's a very challenging, and I think what you need to do is build up permanent systems within. So we established GSOC. People are unhappy with GSOC. GSOC was to hold, any misdoings by Gardaí to account. The Deputy Tobin was talking about white-collar crime. The Gardaí should be investigating white-collar crime. That's our existing agency should be doing this work and reducing the need for inquiries in the first instance. Like the Health Information Quality Authority is established. Now that's been a transformational change compared to where we were before its establishment in 2003. Prior to that, there was no inbuilt system within health to drive standards and drive proper approaches to public policy and to the provision of healthcare facilities, taking the patient's rights into consideration. So it's a topic that does need serious discussion, but we need to build up the existing capacity of the system to deal with these issues in a substantive way and avoid the necessity of having inquiries that take, by any yardstick, an inordinate length of time to come to a conclusion, and at great cost.